Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Rocketeer Minute, where each and every day, Monday through Friday, we go over 1 minute of the greatest adventure movie Walt Disney's ever made, the 1991 Joe Johnston-directed feature, The Rocketeer. I'm one of your hosts, Jim O'Kane of TVDads.com.
And I'm Hal Bryant, an airplane nerd from the Experimental Aircraft Association here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So, Jim,
yes,
we have another guest.
We do.
We have a guest who has a fascinating hobby that makes me extremely jealous. This is a man named Jamie Hicks. He's coming to us all the way from the United Kingdom. Very kind of him to join us and talk about what he does. So let's dive in and discover that together. Jamie, welcome.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to join you guys. So thank you.
I've seen some of your handicrafts on Twitter, and I think Hal and I are both just floored at the skill level. You are I think the term is finhead online. You build Rocketeer related equipment and things that people put on to make them feel more like the Rocketeer.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a average guy that just happens to have a nice workshop and just a healthy fascination with the Rocketeer and a love of the Rocketeer. So yeah, that's where it all stemmed from.
Wow. How early did you start doing this kind of a thing?
Well, since I first saw the film, I was 13, and it was just one of those moments, and I just fell in love with the film. And I wanted a rocket pack. I wanted the helmet. But being in the UK back then, there was no realistic chance of ever. I didn't think of owning such a piece of film memorabilia. So then I just basically waited until I'd got the skill set and sort of was naive enough to attempt it, really, and then just away I went and had a go.
Wow! Did you try making the helmet first, or did you make the rocket? Where did you start? What was your first piece that you crafted?
Well, it's kind of always been the rocket pack. The first one I made, believe it or not, was out of cardboard tubes, and yeah, I know it looked as bad as it sounded. It was, but it was still a rocket pack. After I've sat there and used car filler and whatever I could find to make this thing just to even resemble the rocket pack, and it kind of did. But looking back now, it wasn't the greatest piece of memorabilia, so to say.
Well, even Howard Hughes had to make several versions, so you're in good company.
Right. And presumably your earlier ones didn't blow up or anything like that. So
no, they just kind of had to be kept out of the sun because most of it was paper and flammable materials. So yeah, it was. But it's got a place in my heart. It was anything to do with the Rocketeer. That was the main reason, just to have something.
Now,
Sure.
how did you get the specifications? I mean, I've seen a couple of hobbyists online where they actually draw out schematics and things. Is that where you get most of your background for it, or?
Yeah, well, it was a long process. The rocket pack that I've built now, it was. I really wanted to try and get this one as close as I could. Being scratch built, I'm not an engineer, so I've got no engineering background. But I wanted it to look like it had been, made and machined. So I kind of managed to get lots of measurements because there are rocket packs out there, a couple of makers. But I wanted to make my own. I wanted it to be an experience to make my own rocket pack, to be kind of, I guess, like Peavy, that sort of sitting at your kitchen table. I watched that clip in the film and that was me. I was sat there, obviously not making the helmet, but making this rocket pack, just sat there at the kitchen table with a cup of tea and the wife looking at me, kind of, handing me divorce papers, and so it's kind of that clip kind of holds a spot in my heart as well. It's just so what I was doing, but yeah, I managed to get some measurements off a real pack, and then luckily enough, I'd got a friend who did CAD drawings for a living, so he drew me up some 1:1 scale CAD drawings, but then that was it. It was kind of, right, what do I do with the drawings? I'm not an engineer. There's not really a big prop making scene where I live, so it kind of left me with right, I've got it drawn up, now what do I do? What's the next step? So yeah, and then it was just a head, months scratching my head how I could make this thing.
Wow. Yeah. Now, I'm trying to figure out the material that you're using. Is it foam? Or are you using a?
Well, no. The initial pack, I couldn't. I went to engineers, local engineering companies, and they just kind of just looked at me like I'd been smoking far too much herbal, herbal cigarettes. Yeah. And they were just going, this you can't. You're not going to be able to make this, and if you are, it's going to cost ridiculous amounts of money. So I kind of had to just think of how I could make this thing, and I wanted to make more than one because I'm a fan, and I'd like the other fin heads to have a rocket pack. So the idea was I could make more of them for fans because they're just such a hard prop to get hold of, and it's such a great prop, and it's just a shame more people haven't got one. So I kind of eventually got to the idea of using wood and clay.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of what I can use. It's the limits of my technical ability.
I'm sure it holds paint well, so that's a good thing. And
yeah. So basically the master was made from wood and clay sculpt. So I sculpted a lot of it, hand sculpted all the organic, because it's a really organic shape. The pack is beautiful when you look at it.
Oh yeah, it's that bulbous feel to it, and the heat sinks the outside of the fan casing. It's just amazing how many little parts there are to this that you can get as detailed as you want. Have you considered hollowing out the inside to put in a fan or something that moves, that there's air blowing through it? I don't know if that's a little bit beyond being able, something you'd be able to put in something like that.
Yeah. Now I've got the actual pack made. Now I can really add those sort of details. Working fans, smoke machines. Really.
You'll be able to get out one night and put it upside down in a bean field. Once you get that Lindbergh statue built, then
that's the end game. Yeah.
I was reading on the Replica Prop Forum. I guess it's just Replica Prop Forum, the RPF.com, and came across recently. I think it was an older thread, but there was somebody who was putting together a complete package of LEDs and sound effects and things like that. It should be amazing to me. There goes my budget. It should be amazing to me that there's this, that much detail and that much effort going on out there. But it really doesn't. It's not surprising at all, because I know how much I would love to have one of these things, at least to hang on my wall, if not on my back. But anyway, just curious. Have you seen? Do you participate over on that forum? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. I've been on the RPF for a few years now, because I'm a kind of a collector of props and maker of props, and so I've always followed that forum. And there's some great stuff being made on there. It's inspiring to see, and it's encouraging that I'm not the only kind of sad person sat in his garage when he should be sat with his wife. But some of the amount of the rocket pack, the amount of detail in it is just every rivet that I put onto the pack I had to put on by hand. It was mind numbing, and it's been such a long build process, because it's been the final pack is cold cast aluminium.
Oh wow!
And it's great. It's stunning. You hit it with some wire wool, and it really brings it up. There's no paint, because everyone's kind of going, "Oh, the paint looks really good. The paint job." And it's like, that is the pack. It's
Oh, really?
One of the prop makers from Disney had shared with us a picture of the refueling caps that are on. I never realized until I saw these pictures that the tops of the X3 actually are supposed to open up, and there's like a funnels on the top. Have you ever included that detail? I don't know.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's taken me, because it's been such a collaboration with so I did get some prop makers in to make the molds for the pack, and because they were so busy, it's taken me kind of 4 years to get where I am now. But it's kind of just a work in progress. I want to add lights. I want to add, do different variations of the pack. Like a work. So when you can take bits off, and it could be a work. It wouldn't work, but it would look like it was the internals were there. So there's still a lot of still a lot of things I can do with it. And
we've had Billy on a couple of times, and he said there are several different versions that they had when they were using it. There were some that would shoot flame, and some that would were smoke devices, and then there were some that he would just that was easy to run around when you're running up the steps of the Griffith Observatory and things. So you definitely have a lot of options to build in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've still got plenty of time to not sit with the wife.
Yeah,
plenty of excuses still.
I think we'd better dedicate this episode to Jamie's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leanne. Thanks, Leanne, for bringing up the kids while I've been building this rocket pack.
Yeah. Where's Dad? He's at there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre that the friends go to school and it's like the dads are kind of, we're watching football in the pub. Where's your dad? Oh, he's down at the bottom of the garden building a rocket pack. Yeah.
One day we'll see him coming
somebody
flying out of the garden.
Yeah, it beats the traffic.
Yes. Wow. Now, I'm assuming that you have the other parts of this. Do you have the leather jacket and the buttons and all that with the?
Yeah, unfortunately, I am that sad. I have the whole costume, and unfortunately, I didn't have time to put it on because I rushed to get here. But
no, that's fine. We're audio only, so
yeah.
It's okay.
But yeah, I've got a helmet, I've got the jacket, I've got the boots, I've got the joggers.
What did you do for a helmet, Jamie? I'm curious about that.
I actually purchased a helmet a couple of years ago. I've had a couple of variations. The helmet was just, that's just another major project to make. So I just managed to get hold of one of those. But yeah, it still had to be painted and made. It only came as a raw kit. So again, it was head scratching of what's the color.
I've seen a few of the kits out there that maybe vacuum formed plastic or something like that. So is yours plastic? Is it metal?
It's a resin. It's just like a
resin,
kind of like a resin helmet. I did have the Disney, the Master Replicas one that they did a few years ago.
Right, yeah, that's the one that I've got.
Yeah, and it was such a great. I mean, to look at it was stunning to look at, but to wear,
it's heavy, it's small,
and it just wants to pull your head back because that big fin sticking out on the back. It was just a stunning piece to look at, though. And
contrary to rumors, I very rarely wear mine.
That's
put
what I
that
tell
out there
everyone.
right now. Is it? I think we've just started a support group here.
I'm not alone.
That's right. Stand, be proud. Flash your fin, Jamie.
I've done that and I've been arrested for that, so I shan't be doing that again.
Oh, poor Leanne, wherever she is today.
In our prayers, yeah. Oh my goodness! But I keep thinking about how with the advent of things like 3D printing and stuff, I guess this is just going to become more common that people will be able to craft more props, movie props and things. Do you? I was wondering for your rocket pack itself, do you have a large steamer trunk with the words "authorized personnel only" on the front of it in gold letters? Have you gone there yet? Or
yeah, I'm thinking about getting one made. I know a couple of guys. I've spoken to them about it. These are the guys that helped me with the original Master, so they turned out the timber sections. And they're up for making me a case. Yeah.
We all need a good steamer trunk guy.
Oh, of course, yeah. That'll be my life fulfilled.
Right.
You just need to find a friend named Lenny who's willing to sit in a rumble seat.
Right.
Or just a friend.
Yes.
Early on in the show, we talked. We jokingly referred to part of the episode as the vacuum cleaner minute. We talked about the Kenmore Commander vacuum cleaner that was modified to be sort of the fake rocket pack that burned up in the fire. And I was amazed to see, again, coming back to the replica prop forum, that somebody there actually has kicked off a project and is recreating.
The burned up,
not even the burned up one, but before it's burned up, but taking that Kenmore Commander vacuum cleaner and adding those side fins and stuff that were added for the movie. So there's somebody doing everything.
You can never dive too deep with this movie. That's the way it seems to be
exactly
turning
right.
out.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's great that it's still got this following and admiration after all these years. It really, I think it's great because sometimes I sit here and look building things like that, and you just think, does anyone really care? And then this sort of thing, this show pops up, and you wear the costume at conventions, and just the love for the film is just unquestionable still.
Yeah, it has a certain. It's for all ages. I mean, you loved it when you were 13 years old, and you can still hang on to that now in adulthood and still find joy. I know every time I put it on, and we're doing this. We have to watch this 109 times, but every time I put this movie on, I have to watch it to the bitter end, and it isn't bitter. I mean, I can sit there and watch the thing, and I'm still entertained by it, and it's. I don't know whether that's great or scary. I'm just going to go with great, but I do enjoy it every time I watch it.
I've got two boys now. I've got William and Jake, and William's 5 and Jake's 8. And, I've introduced them to the Rocketeer, and they love it. It's just a great film. You can just sit there, and it's old school entertainment. There's no, bad language. There's no violence, compared to today's standards.
Oh, sure.
It's just a great film for, like you say, all ages.
Yeah, and it's about science. It's about camaraderie. It's about romance. It's got something for everybody, and it's just the whole adventure is very enthralling.
Yeah, and everything just looks cool as well.
Yes, indeed, it does.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Why can't we still dress like that? That's my only. Why can't we all? Why is it all jeans and t-shirts nowadays and not fedoras and suits?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Helmets. Let's not
helmets.
Helmets.
Yeah. Well, I've got a face for helmets, so yeah.
I've been told I have a face for podcasting. So
I was told that by many people when I said I was doing this.
Once again, you're among friends.
Even if you could just carry it under your arm, I think you'd feel better just walking down, just like. Yeah. Just like Cliff does at Griffith Park. If you
right.
just, tuck it under one arm and march slowly toward your gangster adversaries.
Puts a bit of a spring in your step.
Yeah.
So Jamie, if we could circle back just quickly. So you talked about you built your master out of sort of wood and clay and things like that, and then you've done the cold cast aluminum. And then you said you're putting rivets on by hand. Are you pulling actual rivets? Or are you just sort of gluing the heads on?
No.
What sort of details like that?
So the master had the rivets were all put on by me.
Okay.
So they were all
so
put
the master had the rivets. So then
the master's got the rivets. But basically when I came back with the main cast, all I had was the centre section and the 2 cylinders. So then I had to make all of the fins. The radiators, they were all made separately, and luckily, but the project had taken so long that 3D printing had kind of taken off at a home level. So I was lucky enough to buy one and actually draw all of the smaller details, the heat deflectors, all of the fittings. I was managed to draw all of those in 3D, and then I can just print those off as and when I need them.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because I wanted it to be as close to a machined piece as opposed to someone handcrafting it in out of cardboard, and I wanted it I wanted the fins and I wanted all the radiators and grills to kind of look machined. So 3D printing is, I'm glad the project took longer than it did, because it's actually produced for me a better pack.
Now for those fins, are you 3D printing those and painting them to match, or are you 3D printing them to make more molds?
Yeah, the initial idea, I was going to 3D print them all, but I just love that cold cast finish, so I am going to master a few parts. Like the top radiator is a big piece, so that's going to be cold cast. And then I've got real world bits on it, so I've got real braided hose for the fuel lines. Just trying to give it that. Well, if you look at the rocket pack, it's those sort of details give it that real world look and feel, because it's and I've got guys that are friends that are into motorsport, and they've seen the rocket pack that I've made, and they're like really impressed. They're like, this doesn't look like a toy, a prop. It looks, if you could fill it with some fuel, this thing would go.
Don't press that button.
Yeah,
right.
The problem is, if it's filled with alcohol, the problem is I always drink it before I get to fill it up. So.
And always carry a package of Beemans with you, just in case of a leak. And
wow.
You said you said about this, wanting to be able to produce more than just one for yourself. Have you produced more than one yet?
I've actually got 10 raw casts sat in my workshop, waiting to be worked on. So it's kind of like it looks like a munitions factory at the minute.
So after Jim and I each get one, that leaves you 8. That is really.
I would be,
so you've got 8
guys,
of these that aren't spoken for. That's
I need
fantastic.
one. I mean, you guys are more than welcome to jump the queue.
Oh, that would be rude. That's not our
our
style.
I've not taken any orders for any of them, because it's not the way. I just want to build them as a as a hobby, and then if I manage to get rid of a few,
just one small Rocketeer army would be fine.
That's it. I'm building my own little. Like I say, it looks like a munitions
flying commandos, the works,
yes,
everything.
Exactly. Well, I can't think of a better way to re-cement the special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom than a transaction involving some rocket packs.
Well, what a better way? There is no better way. That's.
We do have to talk about the minute that we're involved in right at the moment.
Oh, that's right. There's a minute,
which is I guess we can use the phrase. It starts with the phrase that I'm sure Jamie's wife uses a lot. He's got to be kidding.
Yeah.
But poor old Cliff is dealing with what PV hath wrought. But it is a beautiful thing.
That's when that helmet comes up into frame and you look at it. And Jamie, perhaps you can relate better than maybe anybody I know. Although I do have to give a shout out to a stateside Rocketeer cosplayer named Patrick Hall, that we might have him on the show at some point. But regardless, I know he's listening, so he understands as well. But boy, that helmet comes into frame. All I want to do is start spending money. I said, where's some merchandise? Is there something with that on it that I can buy?
Yeah,
and
that's the same feel. When I first saw the film, it was just, it was kind of a dream object. It was like I want one, but I've got more chance of flying to the moon back then, and it's just a beauty. The helmet is just, I can't. I'm filling up now just thinking about it.
Well, let's make that worse for just a second, and Jim is right. Maybe just before we sort of get back to the rest of the minute here. So Jamie, you tweeted a picture of, I believe it was a picture of yourself in your costume, to our frequent guest, Mr. Billy Campbell, and you got a reply almost right away, didn't you?
Yeah, I was kind of in two minds whether to tweet, because I'm thinking, is he just going to think, oh my God, I need to block this man? But yeah, I mean, it was just a moment in my life. I'm 41 now. I just felt like a 10-year-old again. It was amazing that this, Billy Campbell, for me, he's, a legend. I've grown up watching him in this film and other things. And for him just to respond was just, kind of mind-blowing, and just, what a guy to take time out and be so kind with his words to basically...
Amen.
Yeah, he's been enormously generous with us.
Yeah,
this time.
I was kind of amazed that he was just so humble, and I tell everyone that he's tweeted me back, and everyone's like, the Rocket. And most people go, what's the Rocket who? And I'm like, yeah. There you go.
The
who? So yeah, but yeah, it was brilliant, and it just thanks, Mr. Campbell, Bill. You are an absolute legend. Thank you.
Well, it's amazing to me too, because you as we all have, we watch him in the film over and over and over. And you know that this is an actor, this is somebody who's playing a part, and you secretly hope. Well, I hope he's kind of a nice guy like Cliff Secord is, and sort of a good sort. But you never know. And as we've interacted with him and had multiple conversations with him throughout the course of this show, I just keep finding I think he's a much nicer guy than Cliff Secord, frankly. So
well, that's good. That's good to know, because, like you say, I think there's nothing worse to find out that your screen hero or an icon that you look up to is kind of just a grouchy old person, or
right.
That fills my heart. That does. That he's an absolutely great guy. So yeah,
and hearing this, hopefully he'll be back on again. So we're
exactly.
Yeah, just not with me. Block me from Jamie.
Right. Well, I think he appreciates it. I mean, there's people that don't want to be related to the character that they're part of, but I think he's embraced it heavily. And I think if he get a chance to be the Luke Skywalker role, if he could do that again, being the older mentor in whatever. Hopefully Disney's listening, but if he could be in future Rocketeer movies, I think we'd all love to see him there. I don't think anybody's ever wanted to be the laughing bandit. As watching minute 32, I don't know if there's a lot of cosplayers out there that decide to be Sir Reginald.
But you have just given me an idea. I have to say, yeah, it's great, that whole conceit. With Dalton as Sinclair as Sir Reginald / the Laughing Bandit. It's right out of the Scarlet Pimpernel, or as I more fondly remember, Daffy Duck and the Scarlet Pumpernickel. But when he removes the mask, this tiny little mask, and everybody's suddenly shocked to recognize him. That's Clark Kent without the glasses. It's such a great little reveal.
I love that scene. I think just think how much fun he must have had filming that scene after the seriousness of Bond. It must have been such a relief to film such a. I mean, what a villain as well.
He's a real mustache twirling
guy. Oh, that tash! It's just the moustache. It's that on its own is, is a star of the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and he's got his sword and he flicks the rose off the lapel, and then we see Lisa Peterson there catch it.
Yeah, I want to see that film.
I do too. Yes, I mean they did it took a lot of takes, but eventually it worked out okay.
Yeah.
But Jim, I'm wondering, after our conversation about in the Bulldog Cafe and the wheel in the soup, I'm assuming Joe Johnston threw the rose to make sure it landed just right.
Yes.
With Lisa there as he did as he threw the wheel into the soup, as Billy was telling us.
And I do like the way that is a callback to he had been practicing flicking a flower as he did with Eddie Valentine back at his house. That was his rehearsal, and just being able to do that brief little callback a half an hour earlier in the movie. It's just a little thing, but after you watch it about 70 or 80 times, you suddenly note, hey, that's like that part. So
exactly, that's when you have a couple of geniuses like us to step you through it. Yeah. That is, it's like, hey, wait a minute.
But beautiful. And gosh, every line. I want. I wish I could have my voicemail announcement done by Timothy Dalton. He's just got the great set of pipes. Every line that comes out of him is just brilliant and just very syrupy, but perfect. Okay, well, I'm
okay.
I'm swooning over
We've
the
made a lot of
movie,
progress here so far.
I think so.
And it looks to me, we talk about. Neville Sinclair does his own stunts, and we've sort of talked about with Timothy Dalton that mirrors him. As far as I can tell, right toward the end of this minute, swinging in on the rope, that sure looks like him on a harness coming right down, and not a stuntman. But there are a couple of cuts where it could have been covered, but it sure looks like it's Dalton to me.
I have it's related to this minute back with the beginning with the helmet. As the only one of the three of us on this podcast right now who has not worn a Rocketeer helmet, what is the seeing like in it when you put that thing on? Can you see anything? Or?
Now, Jamie, remember the helmet wearer's oath. We mustn't disclose anything to the inexperienced.
Oh, okay, and that's it. Hal's just told me to say you just have to buy a helmet, Jim.
I invoked the oath.
In fact, why haven't you got a helmet? What's wrong with you?
Yes, all the rest of us have helmets.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Jim? Why haven't you got a helmet?
My head is very similar to those. If you remember those statues on Easter Island, I have just a rather long head, and you would see a mustache in the bottom of my chin. I think if I put one of those on, I have the same problem with stormtrooper helmets. The stormtrooper helmets
I've got a big beard now, and that kind of hangs down the bottom of. It's an odd look. I wear the Rocketeer helmet, and I have to wear like a beard refrainer. It kind of to stop it hanging over the bottom of the helmet. So yeah.
You could play Sir Reginald's opponent, Charlie. Then
yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
You'd be practicing saying "Good heavens."
Heavens.
Good heavens.
See, he's a natural.
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
He's got it all figured out.
Well, this has been an illuminating episode. I want everything. I've got to get are there particular jackets that you found that have you tried several jackets or?
Yeah, there's the Magnoli. I don't know if I can. Is it a plug? I don't know if it's a plug. Am I allowed to?
We're not getting any money for it, so don't. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, well, there's a guy in New Zealand, Magnoli. He makes Magnoli Clothiers, and he makes the jacket, he makes the jobbers, he makes the boots. Wow. And that's my end game, is because I've kind of got a different jacket. I've got his boots, but I want to get all of his, because that's kind of the best stuff that's out there. And that's the only guy that I know that makes stuff that would kind of almost touch the original. So he's the guy to go to.
Wow! So you have a Rocketeer tailor. That's
yeah.
Well, he's got a steamer trunk guy, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm
You're gonna
working on the
need
full collection.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need a haberdasher and perhaps a Rocketeer chemist for the
Tell your wife that we are thinking about her. Every
Yes, exactly. We miss her too.
Yeah.
So Jamie, how can people see your work? Is following you on Twitter maybe the best
Twitter
the best
or
way?
Facebook? Yeah, I kind of I'm still trying to understand how Twitter works. So, but yeah, Facebook, Twitter, or just find me through you guys.
Yeah, so look at our. If you follow us on Twitter, you can find you're one of our many friends. So,
Yeah, like I say, people can have a look at it and be inspired to even make their own. It's it's not impossible.
Wow, awesome.
I was going to read off your Twitter handle, but it is a bit long and gets a bit complicated with the numbers towards the end.
It's not the best, is it? It's not the most catchy name. It's when I joined for a specific reason, and I had to do it quick, and I just couldn't be bothered to come up with a really cool name. I was sitting there going,
when you're busy making rocket packs, I think we can certainly understand that. You've got I may be the first person who's ever said this to you in your entire life, Jamie, but I think your priorities are in order.
Thank you. Yes, finally,
validation. Yes.
Finally, after all these years and abuse and ridicule, somebody can feel my pain.
Well, you're among friends here.
I feel in a safe place.
And Billy likes you too. So
I know, that's it. I don't care. The wife, she can. The bags are packed. It's fine.
They say authorized personnel on the front. So,
Yes.
Only joking.
Wow.
I'm only joking.
And thanks to Billy for also tweeting at you the evening before we recorded this episode to tell you that Jim and I would make it relatively painless.
Relatively.
I hope that holds up.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an amazing experience.
Well, thank you so much. And again, for people who would like to get on social media and chat with Jamie or chat with us, please go out there. We are always available at Twitter, as we were talking about. We're at Rocketeer Minute. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Rocketeer Minute, and at the big site, rocketeerminute.com, where we've got cool swag. Not as cool as Jamie's swag. Jamie has the coolest swag, so I can give you that as an endorsement. But we do have some
I'll take that and
less.
put that on my Facebook page.
Lesser swag is available at our site, but go out there and see the world of the thing. What was the name of the name of the forum?
The Replica Prop Forum. It's THERPF.com. And I think I mentioned on another episode that's how we found Ryan, who was a great guest, and we hope to have back. Lots of interesting stuff, and there's a amazing collector on there, goes by the handle of Evil Rocketeer, and we've reached out to him to see if he can come on and talk about some of the screen used props and things he's collected over the years. But
he's got some great stuff.
Haven't made contact, at least as of the time we're recording this, haven't made contact yet.
Yeah, we're recording these out of order, so he may have already been on the show. We just don't know it yet.
Right. He may have already taken over the show.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Wow. But go to all those places. Also, make sure that you check in at Google Play and iTunes, and you can get this delivered hot and fresh every morning, or actually the night before, Monday through Friday.
And please leave reviews.
Yes. Nobody seems to know us because they don't tell anything about us. So we can be helped by your comments with lots of stars if that's possible too. But pick us up again tomorrow, and we'll be talking more about who knows what. I have no idea, but it'll turn up.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah, actually, I do know there is going to be a fascinating guest and actually a spouse of one of the major people involved in the Rocketeer, and you will be amazed who that is.
That's right.
Join us here tomorrow on the Rocketeer. So until then, over and out.
Go get him, kid.